Here, well, Chad, Mike's software or LMN?
Oh,
Mike software, of course.
I choose Mike's software.
oh,
There
that's
you
too
go.
kind, guys.
I have a
I
million
choose Mike
reasons.
software too.
See? Is there a name
Hands
for this
down.
software? Have
That
you
doesn't
named it?
even exist right now publicly. You
Have you
guys,
named it?
yeah, there's a name for it, but it's gonna go under the like umbrella that I already have. But it's essentially gonna be the How to Hardscape headquarters.
How to Hardscape
HQHH.
HTHHQ.
Wow.
HTHHQ software.
Well, no, that's just the yeah
Well, I
HTHHQ.
don't. So you're just gonna call it HTHHQ?
That's it.
Rolls off the tongue.
Well, no, but I'm just. Yeah, well, no, I'm just trying to participate in this because I'm going to use the software and be an influencer
What
for it.
about not our finest software?
That's not a good name.
I'm fucking with you.
So you're gonna is it? It's a CRM. Is it a CRM or
It
is it?
will eventually be. So essentially, whatever is available with the budget and estimate spreadsheet will be turned into a software. So that's budgeting, estimating, job costing, and automatic forms. And within that is essentially a CRM, and then we're going to expand on that from there.
Do you have a time tracking thing?
That's the next phase. So then
Okay.
after this is the app, and then time tracking.
I just meant for like because one of our biggest problems is time cards.
That's good to know. That's
It's a pain in the ass. How do you do time cards, Chad?
Um,
How do your guys not fill out time cards so that you can pay them?
I have nothing to do with the hours. They send them straight to the bookkeeper who pays them whatever they need to be paid. Does
Okay,
all
but
their deductions, all this shit.
I know, but
Um,
I'm saying like, how do you get people to physically do it? Because it's like a fucking
the
pulling
the
teeth. Or am I the
the
only one with that experience in life?
the bookkeeper says if you don't send me your hours on Monday, you're not getting paid for the week. So
Has anyone ever forgotten?
yeah, and she didn't pay them, or she'll remind them on.
Did they freak it on you?
No, it's not my responsibility. Why would it be my responsibility?
Because you're
I
the
have
owner.
enough to worry about. No, no, that's not my problem.
Chad, do you have a second in command that takes times for everybody, or does everybody do it individually? And then same question to you, Mike. Do you have like
Every
a second in command
Oh,
or like a foreman that
you
that
don't want to know the fuck show that our time
yeah,
okay.
cards are.
I got you.
So,
everybody
well,
does it.
I'll tell you about it. I'm just joking. Sorry. How do you do it, Chad? Because I feel like your system's already better than mine.
No, it's not. I don't have a system, Mike. There's literally no system. The guys send their times
How do they
into
send it?
text.
Okay.
They text them to the bookkeeper. Hi,
How
Connie.
many
These
of
are
them?
my hours this week. 6 of them right now.
And when does someone, now these six, though, you know them,
Yes, I work closely with all of them.
but then you've known them for a while because they've
Yeah,
all been part of your team for a while.
yeah.
Okay. So when a new person comes, do you just let them randomly text their hours or does someone check that person's hours before they text them?
Their hours won't be different than any of the senior guys.
Okay.
So if there's a discrepancy, the bookkeeper will flag it and be like, why is this guy saying he worked 6 more hours a week when he's
Talk to
new?
you?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. That's the only flagging procedure that we have.
Okay.
I rely heavily on the honor system, and
Well, if it's six people that you know really like I if it's six people you know really well, then that's
yeah,
fine.
yeah. Like, would I trust them? Yes, I'm going to trust all the guys until they give me a reason not to. Um,
Fair.
and I don't know. And everybody, a lot of people probably disagree. Like, I'm very loose with the reins that I give the guys. I let them be very responsible for themselves. Because the more I have to micromanage, I'll lose money other places. And if I start dicking them around about a half hour here and there, that's the tip of the iceberg, right? Like, if they're going to scam hours, then they're going to do a lot worse to the company. I find
Yeah.
at least, you know.
So ours is like we don't have our we have the same like I'm not checking anyone's hours. I trust the people that work on our team. And if I didn't, then you have to leave. There's
Yeah,
no point in you being around.
absolutely.
If you don't trust me or I don't trust you, you can't be part of the team. It will never work.
Exactly.
Our problem is in the data collection, I feel like. Oh, Kelly says it isn't, but I think it is. We have one person that fills out their Apple calendar every day and shares it with Kelly. We have 3 people that text Kelly their hours. We have 2 people that fill out time cards every week. So there's no standardization in the collection of the data. And then every week, Kelly sends out an email, a text that says, "Hey, can everyone send in their hours?" And I feel like if there was an app, or I'm sure there probably is, well, Mike's developing one. What's it called? HTH
How to
HQ?
Hardscape headquarters.
How to Hardscape headquarters. Okay, so like until we have that, I feel like having one place to collect that data is smart, and then send it to Kelly. Like I don't want to review this shit daily. Like I don't want to come home or get some update on my phone and be like, oh, well, fucking Cody worked 12 hours. I don't know how many fucking hours she worked. Did she really work 12 hours? Well, better check on. I don't care. Like I trust her or any of them. Like if they say those are the hours that they worked, my hope would be that if I ever asked them, they could tell me what they did that day. And like, no, I don't think I've ever asked anyone, but I would hope that if you could tell me what you were doing that day and how you were productive, good enough. Like, I don't think I've ever, I just wouldn't have, if I had to ask everyone, I just wouldn't have them around. I think it just wouldn't be, I agree
For
with you.
us, like this isn't standard working conditions, right? Like we're not taking breaks and a half an hour dock for your lunch and all this shit. Like when you're at work, you're working, and sometimes you have a sandwich in your hand and you're lifting brick with the other hand or something, right? Like, so I'm not going to dick you around whenever you say, "Oh, it's 5:15 and I wrote 5:30 on my time card,"
Yeah.
or whatever. You know, like it's not. Life is way too short, and people are going to say, "Oh, that's thousands of dollars a year." Whatever. My trust or my
Yeah, but is
sanity
it
is
because on the flip side of that, the people that work on your team in particular are probably people who are attracted to that amount of freedom and
yeah,
that level of trust. And so if you weren't willing to, by all accounts, your guys seem very productive
yeah, they're great. I
on
can't
on
can't say
Instagram.
anything bad about them.
They
Yeah,
seem really productive.
yeah,
I know, and you're pretty real about things on there.
yeah,
So if that's the kind of people that your company attracts, and you'll attract more of them because those kind of people know those kind of people, then maybe that system's great. And maybe bringing in a hard, rigid system would actually drive the 6 really good people you have out of your company.
But
yeah. I
at
mean,
what stage do you need to get a standardized system, right? Like, how many employees is too much employees to have under that sort of system? To the point
At
where,
one point this year, we had 15 people or 16 people. That was too many people for not a standard
Yeah.
system.
I can imagine.
Yeah. That was too many people for not stand. But on the flip side, it all worked out. So,
I think you can implement both, right? Like at this stage, 6 guys that I rely on can take care of their own hours and stuff. But moving forward, say we were to graduate to a 15 crew company, well, all those new employees on board should be held to a standardized set of rules where they're at least inputting their hours or something like that. And we leave the old crew to do things their old way because you trust them and they've been there for 10 years at that point,
so
right?
then,
And
do
everybody,
those new employees get graduated to that system?
no, never, no.
Never.
Like it's grandfathered in, but never, you're never giving the new guys that opportunity. And not because you don't trust them, it's just because at
there's too
some
many
point,
of them.
yeah, there's too many of them, and there needs to be some standardization.
Well, at some point, too, your bookkeeper is going to be like, "Hey, you can't have 30 people texting me their hours, Chad. You got to have
Yeah.
a different system."
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, it works with sick.
Yeah.
But ideally, your standardized system really doesn't take away from the current system that you have where it is an honor system, right?
Yeah.
Because
Right.
essentially you could take your existing employees and have them be in charge of timesheets. Because like you said, in our industry, it's kind of,
Yeah.
you know, all around the area in terms of you could take your existing 6 employees and have them in charge of, you know, timesheets for, but that, I guess that would get a little bit complicated too for them. Add more roles and responsibilities to them.
Yeah, I've done this a lot of different ways. Like one way was the foreman filled out everyone's time cards.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
that's the
then
way
if someone moves to another crew, like crew hops during the week,
Yeah.
then and then another system we had was everyone filled out their own time cards and the foreman initialed it every day. And that way your time card went with you. So if you worked on my crew on Monday, you'd write down your hours and I would put my initials. And then if you worked on Joe's crew on Tuesday, Joe would initial your hours. And if you worked on Jonathan's crew on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, he would initial your hours for those days. And then when that got submitted to the office person who's processing it would never question it as long as there was initial on it from one of the 3 foremen. And that was a system we used. And then all time cards had to be put in the mailbox in the C-can by Tuesday. And then they got taken up to the office, which that seems intense now when you could just text that information. But back then there was no.
Yeah. Whenever I started, you couldn't. We had paper time cards and they sat in a box in the rundown office that had raccoons fucking 10 feet from them. And Friday, there would magically be a check in that box with your name on it if you put in your time card from last week.
Yeah. Did you ever forget to put your time card in?
Never. Because the time card, and at the end of the day, you went to the time card and filled out your hours and then left for the day.
I always was very focused on time cards because it's how you get fucking paid.
Yeah.
I say that to people all the time. Focus on your time card. It's how you get fucking paid. Do a good job. Make it legible. Say where you were working. Write your hours down. It's how you get fucking paid. It's how you get money to pay your bills. Without that, you're fucked. You can work all week, but if you don't turn it in, no one knows what you did, so we can't pay you. It's not the people. That was more of a thing when I was general managing Lake Ridge than it is this, where right now it's not really a big deal.
Here's a question. What are how did you, or what was your bonus structure like for your crew or the Lake Ridge guys or the PK crew? Is that a thing? Is there like a Christmas bonus, or is that?
Yes, there is.
There is. So
So this year I based it the first 3 years. Kelly and I based it, I guess, on how much money we had.
Yeah, which is fair, right?
Because how much money did we make? How productive was the company?
Yeah.
How, and then this year, because we have a lot more people, and we have people in very dedicated positions. We have foremen, and we have lead hands, and we have laborers, and we have machine operators, and we have, although everyone does a little bit of something, and we have people that are very specifically, we have 3 people that work at our company that are very specifically drivers. So we sort of created like a more structured bonus system than just randomly saying. So it was, I don't know. It's really hard to do. It's not a percentage for us. It was more we looked at how the year went and what we thought was fair, and that's how we did it. Yeah, I don't advocate for that system. I guess if someone had a system where they were dividing up the profit percentage or something, that gets too complex mathematic wise for me. So we just did more of a how was the season?
Yeah, how was the season? This is what we can
You
afford
know,
to give, and
yeah, how independent some of the positions carry like a fuck ton of independence. Some of them you're always part of a greater group. You're not making say I don't mean it like critical like how you're going to operate on someone's brain, but you're not making critical path decisions every day. Like some of our team members, the foremen, the drivers, they're making critical path decisions every day on what they do. You know, they're self-made. Like I don't have. There's only me, so a lot of them are working very independently. Um, people like our drivers, people are calling them to book bins and
that's nice.
gravel, and they're uploading their own calendars, and the foremen are managing their own jobs. Like there's lots of weeks where I didn't make it to either job site with either foreman for the week.
Yeah.
Kelly did, but I never made. And so they're making a lot of really critical path decisions that I didn't. And I feel like the bonus structure should reflect that. People who are making, especially if you get through a whole season. And I used to do this thing every January where we would review the staff and say like, and give them like a percentage, like 85% of the time, this person is a valuable, strong, good for the culture crew member. And 15% of the time, this person is a total fuck show. And I always
have you ever turned the mirror on yourself?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure.
Like
because
100% of the time, I am not a valuable part of the team, but 90% maybe.
Yeah. So the theory being that when you get to someone who's 60-40, you have to really question if that person is appropriate to be part of your team.
Yeah.
When you get to someone who's 50-50, you're basically like, I don't care if you've been here 15 years. If you're 50-50, maybe you have a talk with them and say, hey, if you don't clean up your act, then we're going to be watching you next season.
Are you giving these people like, hey, you're a 50-50, or is this like internal? Like you don't you tell them?
We didn't.
Have you ever
To be honest, we didn't have people that were there. We were doing it. There's a few in my thoughts. There's a few reasons that people make bad decisions. People make bad decisions with really good intentions, and the decision just wasn't the right one, and it didn't work out for them. But their intentions were good. On the flip side, people make bad decisions because they're lazy as fuck, and they knew it was a bad decision, but it was the lazier decision, and then it didn't work out. So if you weigh all the decisions, and I mean, it's impossible to weigh them, but you have a general idea when you deal with someone on a day-to-day basis and manage them. You should have a general idea. Are 65% of the decisions they make, are they good? And 35%, at least you made a decision, you tried to move forward, but maybe it was not it didn't go the right way, but your intentions were good. I got lots of patience for that. If 40% of your decisions are fucked up because you're lazy as fuck, then I'm like,
there's no room for that.
Yeah, I got no time for that. It's just because you're making a decision that's bad because you were just being late. Like it's like if you knew you could wheelbarrow across a river, across a 2x6 all day and get the mulch to the other side of the river to mulch the garden. But instead you decided to drive the truck through the river because you thought it would be okay and get the mulch to the other side of the garden without the wheelbarrowing. None of this is from a personal experience. And then the truck gets buried in the fucking river. And then there's an environmental problem and you're dragging a truck out of a fucking river and there's a whole bunch of bullshit. That is a decision based on laziness that went bad. If you're going across the bridge with the wheelbarrow and the wheelbarrow accidentally falls into the river, then you could say, okay, that didn't go great either, but it was not made because you were lazy. It was made because there was maybe, anyways, I'm just saying those are the differences to me. And then, so you got to figure out if that person, like that to me should all be part of a bonus structure, I guess.
Yeah. There's a lot of things at play here to consider, I guess. Like
Yeah.
last
How
year,
do
we
you,
just gave the guys a set bonus. All of them got the same amount, but they're all good. Like in their own respect, they're all fucking phenomenal workers. Like, and I can't say many bad things about any of them. Um, the not the problem that we have, but I mean, our guys are such close knit that they talk about all this stuff, right? And to give one more than the other, it's it would probably be worse for the company culture than if we started giving one person more than the other.
how do they function in terms when you're not there? How do they function in terms of leadership? Is there clear leaders amongst them, or
Yeah.
they all
Oh
just
yeah.
know what they're doing and they do it?
There's one leader for sure. The other takes a passenger seat, but phenomenal employee. Um, and then a pair of them are like sort of like talking heads. They'll go back and forth and figure it out together. They're like a married couple, I guess, which is good. I mean, and then there's one guy who's just fucking off the handle, no matter what it is. It's a decision you never fucking would have made in your life. But he's also 66 years old, so you can't change his mind. Um, yeah, we got all across the board there. We got all different
So,
kinds.
so on the flip side of that, is the person who's providing all the leadership for the crew getting the same as the as someone else? Is it? I guess as long as that person is not getting annoyed with that because they're taking more responsibility and they're taking more leadership, then your
Well,
system works great.
but their wages aren't all the same either, right? Like some of them make more than
Okay,
so your bonus might be the same, but your wages for doing your
okay,
daily tasks are different,
all right, fair
right?
enough.
So I mean, I
That's a
think
good
it
point.
weighs out. I'm just trying to be as
Oh,
diplomatic as I can here with the
I
guys
think
and
that's a
make sure
good
we all
point.
get along. Like
Yeah,
at the end of the day, $1,000 is still $1,000 at the end of the year,
yeah.
right? For a bonus. Like not saying that's what it's gonna be there, but like
I'm quoting you.
gee, I, my guys, you promised me $1,000. No, we'll see how much is left in the pot at the end of the year. We got to remember we got a pair of skid steers to buy, and we bought 2 trucks this year and all that stuff. So
How's
all
the new
things that
truck?
make your life easier. Fucking phenomenal.
Did it already have
We uh
aluminum rims?
we drove it to go get an e-test today. Just we put them on. They came, I bought them with aluminum rims on. Yes. So those are on, ready to go. The thing's wicked. Heated mirrors, turnkey startup, auto grease. Scale is called Load Man in the box. It's pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah, automatic truck. It drives like a 5 ton. Like I can't say much bad yet, but we've only had it a couple days, so
Did you sticker it?
not yet. No, I have a hard time getting a hold of my decal guy.
No,
Like,
no, I meant sticker the plate.
oh yeah. So I was all ready to go. What is that thing? What are they? Do you have 24,000 kg?
It could be depending on the truck. It would depend on the truck.
Yeah. Am I close?
I don't
24,000 kg, 50
12
some.
ton. You're like 12 ton then? No.
Should be able to put 14 in that truck. But
Our bin
anyway,
trucks, our tandem bin trucks are good for 12, but the rail system
12
and the
ton.
hook,
Yeah.
with the rail and the hook
Takes
and
two.
stuff,
Yeah.
weighs a lot more than your truck will be way lighter to scale in.
Yeah. So anyway, it's a GVWR is 52,000 pounds, so 24,000 kilo or something like that. That's what we rated it for. Everything's ready to go. Last step, she's like, "Oh, you need an e-test." Great. So I got a temporary sticker for the truck. We got to get an e-test tomorrow. We drove it to the e-test place. So for some reason, all these trucks still need e-tests. Cars don't, but all diesel vehicles do.
Anything diesel
Yeah.
diesel truck needs, unless
Yeah.
is it. I don't know if diesel passenger vehicle well, if you're a Volkswagen, it just lies anyway, so it doesn't matter. No.
That's true. I heard Ford had a thing with Volkswagen. They were supposed to do a joint venture for commercial vehicles or something. I don't know.
Perfect.
Something like that. I could be wrong. I thought I read that a while ago.
Maybe.
I don't know. But Ford seems to do so well on their own with commercial vehicles. I guess the new Super Duties look pretty cool. So
I don't know why are they out now, the brand new ones?
they just released them. They have some cool things like they're all Wi-Fi and shit like that. Scales in the box, so you know how much material you're hauling. Which that should have been standard 10 years ago. You know, but shit like that. I don't know. We'll see. I'm more than happy with my Dodge right now, though.
Oh, you're talking about getting a new truck for
Like a
you,
like a 1 ton. Yeah.
like a dually.
I have a 1 ton single rear wheel right now. I don't know if I go through the drive-through too much, maybe to have a dually, because you always rub tires up against
I
the.
don't know. I've
Gotta
always
get those
wanted.
pumpkin spice donuts.
Yeah, that shit.
I've always wanted a dually, but I've just never. For the same, I'm always like, there's like a lot of inconvenient things about it.
Yeah, that's it. Like I would get a dually flat deck, but apparently I was talking to this MTO guy officer when he pulled me over one time. Because I have a regular bed on my truck, there's an exemption for filling out paperwork every morning. But as soon as you put a flat deck on your 1 ton truck, you have to fill out a trip inspection anywhere you go. You could be driving your kid to fucking elementary school and you got to do a pre-trip.
Well, you have a personal exemption, right?
Yeah, now, but as soon as you put that flat deck on, it's full commercial.
Yeah.
So
We fill out like our pickups. There's 4 of them. They get an inspection filled out every morning, no matter what you're doing. Kelly fills out one in her truck every day.
I do if
So
I have
that
the
way,
trailer on or something, but never,
yeah,
never
we all fill them out
just
every
on
day.
its own.
So if we get audited, MTO audited, we have all the paperwork for them, just in case.
Yeah.
The big MTO audit. I hadn't been overtly paying attention to the inspect because you're supposed to tear out the inspection every day, and then they're all supposed to get turned in once a
Yeah.
week. Because so we started. It was one of the
Yeah, I
things
got to start doing that
working through.
better.
We started a program now where everyone turns in everything every week. We check it all out. Everyone's got we made sure everyone was.
See, like, I'm at a point in the business where we got to start to do things a lot more by the book,
Mhm.
but we don't have a fucking person to manage all this shit that needs to be managed. Like, I'm lucky that the bookkeeper handles payroll and all that shit, right? But
Yeah.
I have no one to do fucking CVOR paperwork and logging of truck hours and all this shit. And so, I don't know, something's got to change here.
Yeah, it's like every stage of your business, you have to become more legitimate.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And then you have to reassess how to remain profitable when you're the most profitable you'll ever be is when you first start a business,
Right.
Yeah.
because you're totally illegitimate and you have zero overhead.
Yeah.
And well, like you're gonna go lift and relay someone's driveway for $5,000, and you bought 3 yards of limestone, and you do it over the weekend, and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck yeah, I made $4,700 because the truck was a pickup truck you owned just because you drove it, and the limestone you put in the back of the bed, and the wheelbarrow you borrowed from your neighbor's garage, and like and the saw you took from work and they didn't know you had it, and you took a jug of gas too. And I'm just saying that's when you're the most profitable, is when you're totally illegitimate and you have nothing. That's when you drive the most profit.
As long as you, assuming when you start your business, you know what to charge.
That's true. But even then, even if you weren't charging enough, you have no cost. So
Yeah.
you're just wasting your own time. So like if the driveway was really worth $5,000 and you charged 1,000, but you still only had 3 yards of limestone in it, you still made money. You didn't make enough. We didn't lose any money. you didn't charge enough for your time, because most businesses start, you're just charging for like
Your own owner time.
your time,
Yeah.
right? So if you choose to charge $8 an hour for your time, then whatever. But you're not. It's pretty hard to get to the point where you've borrowed your neighbor's wheelbarrow for so long that you lost money.
You can
Someone
break the
noticed
wheelbarrow.
the fucking tamper and saw are missing from the shop. I agree with you. There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of, but I'm just saying, like, when you're doing stuff totally not legitimate, it's way easier to make money when you don't know all the rules and you're not fucking following them.
Right.
Every time you add some new layer of rules, you become less profitable.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is.
We got asked today for topsoil spec on a job we did 2 months ago. And I'm like, are you serious? The topsoil's been down for 2 months. There's snow over top of it. Even if it's the wrong soil, you're not picking it up now.
No.
It's done. Fucking forget about it. So, anyway.
What, they wanted soil testing?
Yeah. And I turned to the GC. He goes, oh, they want you to get soil testing. I said, it's your soil that I bought. You get soil testing.
Yeah.
Like, I installed the topsoil that I bought from you guys. You figure it out now.
You bought it from them?
Yeah. So, I don't know. There's rules at this stage of the game. Unbelievable amounts of rules and regulations and red tape and shit that you have to jump through hoops to get. Fertilizer spec, sod spec. They want to know the fucking spec on the tree stakes.
Yeah.
They're 2x2 pine stakes. What else do you want me to tell you?
Well, they want you to get it from the manufacturer.
What manufacturer? The wood manufacturer?
You got to go to the lumber yard. And so what you're talking about right now, I've spent a vast amount of my fucking life doing to get ridiculous, stupid shit like that. Like,
unbelievable time wasters.
Yeah.
So that you can, like,
sometimes you got to just make it up.
That's it, right? Like,
and just put the logo from the lumber yard on it. 2x2 wood, sole sourced from a virgin forest, blah blah blah. Like, it's like that's it. That's the ridiculous and stupidness of it.
They want a mulch spec. It's pine mulch or cedar mulch. What do you want? The fucking packing slip for it?
Yeah. Fucking goddamn right I do.
It's fucking unbelievable. Like, what? Like, this is just, it's all too much.
And all that stuff just gets collected and goes in a file that no one ever fucking looks at. But their ass is covered if something goes wrong.
But nothing's going to go wrong. Because you have my 10% until nothing can go wrong anymore in a year.
Yeah, but what started a lot of that shit was, and I know a couple of projects I went and looked at to redo, was I remember one building I went to look at, and the grass would never grow there. It just died immediately all the time. And when they tested the on-site soil, the soil that someone had brought in there had zero organics in it. And so nothing would grow. And so the building ended up having to like dig it all out and redo it all. And that's, and then someone's like, well, so that's how you get into this. Who pays for that?
Yeah.
It was, and then you get into this cycle of everyone trying to cover their own ass.
Yeah.
I've been to a bunch of projects like that.
Yeah, I suppose.
They were fucked up by something. But that's how you end up like with getting a spec for irrelevant shit like wood stakes that no one gives a fuck about. But now someone's like, oh, on the last project, I got my ass sued because I let them transport in 500 loads of soil that were full of hydrocarbons from the gas station down the fucking street. Like, so now I got to check on the wood stakes. Like, it's, just people are.
Yeah. And now I got to pay someone to get all that information. Like,
yeah. Which is
it's someone's full-time job to keep up with this shit, right?
Becomes someone's full-time job. Just tracking down garbage fucking shit.
Do we even know what's going on with the soil testing thing that's coming into effect next year? Do you guys have any? And this is Ontario specific, but
well, they want to track every speck of soil as it moves around the country.
Right.
Yeah, just have to have like you're supposed to have where it's testing where it's coming from, and then approval to where it's going.
Hmm.
If you get pulled over with it in your truck.
Hmm.
So like Cody got pulled over 2 weeks ago. She was coming from a front yard in Ajax, and she didn't have testing. It was a load of sod someone stripped and put in the bin, and she was going to Arntz, which is a licensed soil processing facility, so she can legally dump there because it's a licensed soil processing facility. Now, she didn't have testing where she was coming from, but there's I haven't read it all in a long time, but there was like a 50 load exception from a residential property. So if you had a residential address, there was like it's a certain cubic volume that you can remove off a residential address without testing if you're taking it to an approved dump, which is like a soil testing facility, I guess.
Right.
But it's astronomically expensive. It's going to be starting next year to move soil around. The cost of housing and stuff is going to go through the roof.
Yeah.
Or on the flip side of that, people will just adapt, or they'll pull over all the trucks for the first 12 weeks, and then fucking Ministry of the Environment will get bored of it and find something else to go chase down. Like, it's the truth, Like, I remember when they brought in the 105 governors on the trucks. They pulled over every truck on the planet checking it for the governor. I don't remember the last time anyone even fucking brought that up. People just because everyone ends up having the paperwork, and then the government gets focused on some new bullshit and they move on.
Does my truck have that? I guess they all do now, right?
It should be governed to 105.
Yeah. I don't know.
They both should, both the ones you have.
Yeah.
I don't know. It depends on what year they are. I can't remember. I had to get a new CVOR.
A new CVOR?
Because the CVOR we have is in my personal name from the sole proprietorship.
Oh.
It was, Mike, sole proprietorship. They haunt you. They fucking haunt you. And I had to get a new one for the corporation, and I don't like taking tests. So I had procrastinated this because you have to apply to write a new CVOR now, and then you have to get approved. And then they send you a letter, and that letter is good for say we got it in May, it was good till November 14th. So on November 11th or 12th or 10th, whatever day it was, that's when I decided to go. I failed the test 4 times.
Me too.
The 5th test.
I don't think it's embarrassing to fail that test. Like,
it's horrible.
No, it's not. No, like I failed my A test 3 times, but I'm not a fucking trucker. I needed to tow my trailer around. Like, get fucking real here.
They were laughing at me because I kept on doing like the loop, like from the test to failing to paying at the checkout to going back in. On that 5th time, they were just like giggling like crazy.
If you were in Cornwall, there's new Canadians here who will write that thing all day. Like,
yeah,
they'll go back and forth 20 times. Like, it's a full-time fucking job.
The lady, the second time I failed, she said, I can just process your fee here. And she didn't make me leave the testing room. Just rotated through it. So I got the first 3 tests, you're allowed to get 6 wrong. I got 7 wrong, and I got the last question wrong every time. Like, I failed on the last fucking question every time.
I don't even remember what a CVOR test is like.
Why do you have a CVOR, Mike?
You're required to have one, are you not?
No.
Over 4,500 kilos or something. You have to have one.
Do you have a dump trailer?
Yeah.
Like a tandem dump trailer?
Yeah, tandem dump trailer. I haven't used it in like 2 years, but yeah.
Okay, so you're over 4,500 kilograms?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. CVORs for everybody, that's different than that American thing, CDL, eh? That's just commercial driver's license.
That's what they're referring to when they say CDL.
And every time I hear the American guys talk about that, that's like the end of the world. Oh, I don't have a CDL.
Or I think like a year ago,
CDL.
It's like an AZ. It's like
a year ago, it became more difficult to get. where they
Really?
actually have to do like in class training and things like that. There was like a timeline where like at this point onwards you would have to go into like in class training and things like that, or it
Okay.
became more
It's like getting an AZ here. It's fucking impossible.
So yeah, that's why we didn't buy an air brake float. We're just gonna get an electric brake float on a
Juice brake.
DZ.
So,
Yeah.
well, you need an AR.
Yeah, I used to have an AR. Now I have a G because I didn't get my physical. So this winter I'll go back and write my D. I don't know.
If you have an AR, you can pull a 14-ton juice float.
I thought you could take a 20 ton.
Someone told me
Juice.
it was 14. To be
Well,
honest, I don't know exactly. It could be 20.
That might have been on your CDR test.
No one should use this as a frame of reference for
Right.
stuff in Ontario. Okay, don't. Both our floats are on air, so the AZ drivers told them, and we used the new 30-ton float this week.
Wow.
That was exciting.
That's
I
a
know.
big
I
deal.
feel like a baller with a 20-ton float and a 30-ton float. For some reason, I feel like more of a baller with these two trailers than I do with all the triaxles and fucking bin. For some reason, having two huge trailers makes you. I don't. For some reason, I'm like.
Are you gonna get a drop deck like one of those?
We were talking
boy.
with the real highway tractor.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about it. That would be pretty
someday, right?
Yeah, maybe.
How do you measure success? It's
the next you measure success by whether or not the ship moves. Right now, nothing moves, so it's not particularly successful. So we used the float. We did lose the float this week, so that's good. But we had to buy a bunch of chain tie downs and chains for it. That's like another $1,000.
Yeah, that's the shit that I go out and spend. Like every December, I'll go to Princess Auto or whatever and just fucking load up carts of stuff like tax write-offs, and I'm fucking throwing straps in and chains in and do this and do that, and I'm like, get it in before the year end.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we bought. I think 7 load binders were $500.
Yeah. Yep.
I was like, holy fuck! So we have. I was like, okay, so 7, so we have 4 flat trailers that float equipment. So in each of them, well, in 3 of them, there's 10 chains because they can all take 2 pieces of equipment. So there's 4 tie downs plus a bucket that has on an excavator you have to strap the arm, or on the skid steer you have to chain down the bucket, right? So there's 10 chains and 10 load binders in each of these 3 trailers, and then on the last trailer, it can only take 1 piece of equipment, so it has 5 chains and 5 load binders. I'm like, what do I have in these trailers? Like fucking $9,000 worth of chains and fucking tie downs? Like, fuck. Like just.
We recently bought chains and cut them down to size. Like we'd have like a 20-foot chain and we'll cut it into 4 lengths of 5 feet. That is such a time saver. Just to have the right size of chains, like you wouldn't even believe. Like instead of wrapping a chain over things, just having short chains, short binders, and it's unbelievable for the 20 minutes you spend making the chains.
Drake was doing today was cutting down all our chains.
Yeah, incredible. Like now everything fits, and you're not worried about how you're going to manipulate the chain to fit the machine, and it's just I highly recommend that.
So. We have 2 dump trailers, 2 7-ton tandem floats, 2 single axle tool trailers, and a 20 and a 30-ton float, a tandem 20-ton float, and a triaxle 30-ton float. And I'm standing in the yard going, the fuck are we doing with all these trailers? How did we get so many fucking goddamn trailers? Like, because they're everywhere. I'm like, holy shit. Like, why do we have all this shit? And then I'm like, we actually use, at some point, we use the 3.5-ton dump trailer, we barely use.
Yeah.
I bring it home to clean out the garbage out of the garage. But it was the first thing I bought, so I'll probably keep it forever. But so you haven't used your dump trailer in 2 years, Mike?
Yeah, I haven't. like since probably just before the pandemic, I guess. So coming up on 3 years now.
So it just sits in your yard.
No, like I don't have a yard. So that sits about 1.5 hours north of Kitchener in a buddy's piece of land. So even if I wanted to use it, I'd had to really, really need it. So and I haven't had any use for it for quite some time.
So at the end of the job, like what do you do at like the end of the job? You always have a bin?
Yeah. Yeah, I run like solely off bins now.
So you don't like I don't it just yeah, it amazes me the level of organization. I could
Yeah.
never be that person.
Well, like I'm organized to an extent because I've got like my main bin company, which is fairly inexpensive, and then I've got like a backup bin company that's a little bit more expensive. So, but I know that backup bin company, if I call them, they're gonna be there within a few hours from me. So yeah, I've kind of got my bases covered in that extent.
I just meant like at the end when we're shutting down a job at the end of the job, there's always a dump trailer worth of mixed load shit.
Yeah.
Where
Half a pallet of this, half a pallet
you
of
can't
that.
well, even like there's some sod cut off, some dirt, some
Yeah.
cut bricks, and we can't mix it all in one load and take it anywhere. And
Oh,
you have to
okay.
take it in separate loads. I'm just saying that be that level. Maybe you can mix it all in one bin in Kitchener and no one gives a shit because it's Kitchener. Maybe that's why 5 yard bins are $400 fucking in Kitchener. I don't like that's a point too. I don't want mixed bins of shit coming back for me. It's got to be clean fill or like this year I'm put like with our bin service, I'm putting out a whole thing that like if you people over put the bin over the top, then there's going to be a surcharge. If your bin is mixed with concrete and fill in the same bin, there's going to be a surcharge. I'm going to put a bunch of surcharges on it because it's getting harder to dump the soil if it's not straight soil, or we got to dump it in the yard and fucking pilfer through it.
What
So
happens if you clean the bin, pour the concrete in the bin to clean the? Is there a surcharge?
You're fucking banned.
banned, you're off the island.
Yeah, you're off the island. The
So
guy who got banned off the island actually still, it's like one of our oldest invoices. He still owes us $400. We're getting fucking paid.
I've had a bin company for the past. Well, I don't want to say, yeah, who, but uh, I'll put anything in it because they just take it to their yard and dump it, and I haven't had. They've never said anything about that, so it's been mixed loads of anything basically. But as of the beginning of this week, they're out of business. So now I've got to rethink that going forward.
There's a void for you to step into in the bin business.
Mixed bins that just get dumped in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah. Maybe you're the new bin guy.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So like that's the only reason why I see a dump trailer being handy.
Yeah. Like with what I'm gonna do next year, I'll have to rethink that, but that's been my go-to for the past, I mean, since I've been in business. So
why did the bin company go out of business?
they don't seem to be doing so they are a supply yard and a bin company and a storage company, and that's like a few different businesses that they have. So they are getting rid of their bin servicing just because it just doesn't seem to be making them whole lot of money.
Are they selling their bin trucks?
I don't think so. I think they're gonna keep like a small portion of their bins for their larger contractors, and unfortunately, I don't think I fall into that. So
Mm. So maybe they just don't want your mixed bins of shit.
yeah,
And they're
exactly
actually
right.
going out of business. Like, so basically, what you're saying is
They cut me off the island essentially.
you got like because it doesn't sound like well they're going to keep their trucks in their bins to service their larger contractors, but not me. But I only send them mixed bins of junk. So I feel like potentially you got kicked off the island, but they just don't make fucking Instagram videos about it. Like, you just got exited from the fucking island.
No, I called them for a bin. They told me that they were as of this week they were cutting off their bins, and then I got a call back immediately being like, Mike, we can definitely do a bin for you. So I don't think I'm in that boat, but I also used to work for them for many years. So
Okay, well there you go. So they can do it for you.
I guess so. I don't know.
All right, are you guys good?
We're good.
It's been
Shut us
2
down.
hours.
It's been 2 hours, so we crushed it.
Yeah.
This is the end of the podcast. This is the end of the even worse hour, which is usually the better hour. If you're only going to pick 1 hour, listen to the worst hour. Not the first hour, the worst hour, because that's the worst hour is usually the better hour of the 2 hours. Or it could only be 45 minutes and not a full hour, but this time it was an hour. So remember that. Have a good night, all. Bye. Bye.